Hey guys, Dr. Greg Rose. I'm here in the 3D Bay at TPI, and I want to talk about one of our swing characteristics, sliding. Sliding is a very common characteristic, and that's anytime a player has excessive lateral motion towards the target before impact. So in other words, we'll take a line outside their lead leg. If the player's knee, their pelvis, their whole body gets past that line towards the target before they get to contact, that's going to be a slide. Now let's talk about why this matters. Okay, so first of all, why do you want to have a weight shift, right? Of course we don't want you to hang back. We want you to have a weight shift. Now why do we want a weight shift? Weight shift is one of the easiest ways to create rotational velocity. So if you think about this, when I hit the ground, what does the ground do? The ground hits back, right? Now how does the ground hit back? When I hit the ground, it hits back up this leg and it puts a force up into this hip, and that force creates this rotational velocity, which is going to be a big asset for me to create rotational speed. This is why a pitcher likes to step off the mound when they hit the ground. It helps them create this rotational speed. So the last thing in the world you'd ever want to do is just take away your weight shift. We want to create a weight shift to create more rotational speed. Now the problem with sliding is you're going to create this weight shift, but you get to the point where your weight shift just keeps going and the ground doesn't hit back. So you're not using the ground to get the energy back. All the energy that's in this weight shift just goes down and it doesn't turn into rotational velocity. And that's a problem. So what's really key is if you have somebody sliding, you don't want them to hang back, right? We want a weight shift. We want to do it right so that you can use the ground reaction force. Now how do you do it right? So first of all, the best players in the world, what they do, in the backswing, they rotate. Now if you notice, the center of my pelvis moves away from the left leg as I'm rotating. I'm not swaying, right? And now from here, I'm going to shift my entire pelvis. My entire center of mass is going to get over my left leg. If I get my entire center mass over my left leg, now I can use that ground reaction force to help get that rotational speed. I think what a lot of players do is they don't get their center mass over here. They just kind of spin, then the knee goes forward, and it's almost like the knee slides, the hip hangs back, and all that energy is wasted. That's such a huge problem for getting more power. So getting your center mass over your left leg so that you can create that rotational velocity. Now, what could be a problem? Why could this be difficult? I think the most obvious would be hip range of motion. Right? It's really important that if I'm going to sit into my left side and then from here turn that sit into rotation, I need something called internal rotation. Really important. When we do our golf screens, we're always checking to see how much internal rotation a player has. And if I put my foot pointing straight forward and try and rotate my pelvis, I should be able to rotate at least 60 degrees. And we see a lot of players that they don't even have 10 degrees, 20 degrees. So first and foremost, if you have that hip or that lower quarter rotation restriction, well, a couple things you can do is you can turn this foot out. If I turn this foot out, I won't need as much internal rotation. That's an easy fix. But the best way in my mind would be, okay, maybe we make it easier for your body, but at the same time, we can work on that flexibility, that range of motion. That's why we talk about a lot of the exercises to improve that range of motion. One other thing that I think is important is ankle. A lot of times, our ankle mobility can be a problem. And if the ankle doesn't have normal range of motion, it creates problem instability in the foot. It creates problems with stability in the knee, so above and below become problematic. So make sure you check that ankle range of motion. I hope this helps you with your game. That's sliding. Let's make sure we get that ground reaction force and use it to our advantage.